Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. We tried to warn you, but you simply wouldn't listen. You know, Democrats, leftists aren't exactly the listening type. They're the learn from your past mistakes type, I guess, or just don't learn and keep doing the same thing over and over again. Every single time Donald Trump is indicted, anytime they launch a bogus investigation, an impeachment, I mean, whatever it is, it does not matter. Every time they go after him, in what is obviously a politically motivated witch hunt, he surges. Yet they keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting this time it's gonna be different. This time, Donald Trump is gonna go to prison. People are gonna drop him, he's gonna become deeply unpopular, his campaign's gonna crash. Or he simply won't be able to campaign because he's gonna be in prison. They've been telling themselves that for frickin' 7 years straight. Yet every single time, Trump becomes more and more popular. You know, here's a great example. Let's take Donald Trump's approval rating. From the start of his presidency in 2016, he started in the gutter, arguably the least popular president in American history for the first couple of months of his first term. Clearly in the 30s, in many cases in the low 30s. The only thing that pretty much rivaled that are Joe Biden's numbers post-Afghanistan withdrawal. But there was an interesting phenomenon with Donald Trump's approval rating. You know, he started at the bottom, he started with abysmal numbers, and the more time went on, he got more and more and more popular. The more they went after him, the more they tried to stop him, the more it seemed like Donald Trump was this selfless character who was putting himself in harm's way for the betterment of the country. The more people understood his deep state rhetoric, the more people understood the dishonest media, what was being portrayed as opposed to what and who he was. It's the only time I've ever seen it. Usually presidents come into office having won a massive election. It's a honeymoon period, 50+% approval rating. You know, Joe Biden came in with a 56%, I think, if I'm not mistaken. He came in incredibly popular, and he's been in the gutter ever since, you know, went the opposite way. You know, Trump's different, and they simply don't get it. When you go after him, that's his shtick. That's his political superpower. That's when he gets to point the finger and say, see, look at what they're doing. Look at what they're doing to me and look at what they want to do to you. I told you. And of course, it's happening again. This time, they're going further than they've ever gone, hitting him from all angles with 4 bogus indictments. None of them have legitimate legal merit. And of course, with the most recent indictment, treating him like a real criminal, giving him a mugshot, treating a former president of the United States as a common criminal, and boy, is it backfiring. Folks, the most recent poll released shows Donald Trump not only having a massive comeback in the polls, but shows Donald Trump theoretically winning in a landslide against sleepy, creepy, piss pants Biden. Let me show you guys what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, take a look at this from Newsmax. McLaughlin poll, Trump beats Biden in electoral landslide. After Georgia's indictment of Donald Trump, our new national poll shows he not only beats Biden, but he would defeat the current president in an electoral landslide. The McLaughlin National Survey finds Trump leads Biden 47% to 43%, up 2 points this month alone. Even more remarkable, with our voter model for this poll, we assigned 4 more points of Biden 2020 voters than Trump voters, meaning they actually stacked the data against him, adding more 2020 Biden voters to the survey sample, and he's still whooping this corrupt old man. Still gaining. This means looking at 2024, there is an 8-point turnaround in favor of Trump from the 2020 election, and Biden voters are switching to Trump. But here's the really big news. In key battleground states, Trump leads Biden 49% to 41%. If the election was held today, Trump would defeat Biden in an electoral landslide. And see, that right there is really what a lot of people forget. You know, people will look at the polls, they'll see Joe leading by, I don't know, let's say 2 or 3 points. Let's take the average. Joe's up 0.8% in the RCP average. And they pretty much dust off their hands and say, it's a wrap, Joe Biden's leading, good game. Yeah, that's not how it plays out with the Electoral College. In 2020, Hillary Clinton was leading in the polls by double digits. Yet not only did she lose, she lost in a massive electoral landslide. Now Joe's up 0.8%. And people are seriously trying to make the argument that he's in a favorable position to win the next election? Give me a break. Joe Biden needs to win big if he's to win key battleground states. I know the narrative is that Donald Trump is deeply unpopular in swing states and especially with independent voters, but based on a lot of the data that we've analyzed, that simply isn't the case. And this data is suggesting that in key battleground states, Trump leads Biden 49% to 41. That's an 8-point lead. And just to destroy another narrative related to Donald Trump's electability, you hear Ron DeSantis voters, Nikki Haley voters, and the rest of their ilk claiming that Donald Trump has an electability problem. Donald Trump simply cannot win a general election. You need a neocon, because those people, oh geez, are they just so incredibly popular? They really mobilize people to the polls. Said literally nobody ever. But that's the narrative that they try to spin. That's what they try to push, that Donald Trump is not electable, but they are. Well, McLaughlin once again follows every other poll, suggesting that actually it's the exact opposite. This sentence pretty much says it all. Trump appears to be the only Republican candidate who can solidly defeat Joe Biden. And it's not a matter of cult of personality, it's simply about policies. Trump obviously has a winning message because he's won with it before. And the reality is, every other Republican candidate pretty much has co-opted his platform to a certain extent. What's the point of supporting another Republican for president over Donald Trump when they're all running on Trump policies? Nobody wants bootleg Trump, people want Donald Trump. And the McLaughlin poll also suggests that Trump is winning when it comes to public opinion. Public opinion agrees with President Trump. Joe Biden's job approval rating remains decidedly negative, and 72% of undecided voters disapprove the job that Biden is doing. They're claiming that most of the undecided vote is a hidden vote for Trump. Under Biden, 67% of voters believe the country is on the wrong track, with 83% of undecided voters saying that it's on the wrong track. That's historically bad. A solid majority of 67% of voters say that the economy is getting worse, and only 32% believe it's getting better. 83% of voters say that they have been negatively affected by inflation or Bidenflation, 45% of which are struggling to keep up and meet basic necessities. Only 37% of voters are favorable of Vice President Kamala Harris. Bidenomics is a poor brand name, with only 22% of voters being favorable. Trump is winning on the issue that matters most to voters, economics and inflation. Voters prefer Trump over Biden when it comes to economic issues at 57% to 33%. When it comes to securing the border, Trump is winning 55 to 37%, and Republicans are leading congressional ballot at 48% to 42%. Now, some of that data, like congressional ballot, for instance, there's other polls that are suggesting a different reality, but for the most part, and especially on the most important issues like the border, the economy, inflation, wrong track, the data presented here by McLaughlin is pretty much in line with what we've seen from all the other pollsters. Trump is winning when it comes to public opinion, he's winning on the issues, he seems to be winning with independent voters, and most importantly, he seems to be winning with undecided voters. This phenomenon of the silent Trump vote. You have to take the polling data and always give Trump a little bit of an edge. In every election season, it's played out exactly like that. That's how it's played out in pretty much the last 2 election seasons. Supposedly, the Democrat presidential candidate's going to win by 8 to 10 points, then they end up winning by, let's say, 4 to 5 in the popular vote. That has a big impact when it comes to key battleground swing states. And on the issue of where Trump stands right now, basically the point that I always make, this far out from the election in 2020 and this far out from the election in 2016, Trump was down by basically double digits across the board. Now all of a sudden, he's leading in most of the polls, and Joe Biden's aggregate lead is less than 1%, currently being inflated by a bogus Yahoo poll before the Trump mugshot. I don't know, man. People want to have a doomer outlook. They want to take the black pill. I'm choosing to remain positive and to stick in this thing. What's the alternative? Giving up? The simple reality is that a second term of sleepy, creepy, piss pants, corrupt Joe Biden is simply too dark of a reality to accept. You just gotta believe, and based on the data that we're analyzing here, there might actually be something to believe in. The headline says it all. Based on McLaughlin polling data, Trump beats Biden in an electoral landslide. As of right now, you can hear the leftoid screeching coming from whatever direction New York and California happen to be based on your current position. Just listen carefully. Trust me, it's there. That's what I got for you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.